Hello, welcome to another edition of Prove All Things. Want to thank everybody who's joining us today, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or X, or watching in the CGI Digital Network app, whether that's on your phone, tablet, or television. We thank you for joining us live. And to everyone else who's either watching this or listening to this as a podcast, we thank you for joining us as well. I'm joined with co-host Mike James. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Jeff, doing well. Good to see you again. We're getting some more rain in California.
Okay.
Getting the rain later in the winter this year. So we're getting our water table up, which is good. We didn't have much rain in the early winter when we usually get it December, January. But definitely March. Every other week in March, we've been getting a few days of rain. So that's good for us.
Well, that's good to hear things are improving, and I guess those fires are long gone now.
Yeah, that's all calmed down, and they're just trying to rebuild now in those areas and cleaning up, and hopefully they can get in their homes in I don't know, a year or two. I don't know, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited today. It'll be up to 70 degrees here in Atlanta, so that's always looking forward to getting towards spring, whenever that's gonna really hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else you've been doing lately?
I'll be going up to Salt Lake City to speak the last Sabbath of
Okay.
March, and we're just trying to get prepared for the spring holy days. We're going to try to get together with Guardian Ministries. Some may remember David Antian, who leads Guardian Ministries. We're going to get together with them hopefully for the Passover, Lord's Supper, and I'll probably be going to another location for one of the days of unleavened bread. We kind of switch it up and visit with another Sabbath keeping group out here for those spring holy days.
Very good. Yeah, we're also preparing for holy days, and in this month I'll be visiting the New York congregation, which be the first time I visited there. So I'm looking forward to visiting New York, and and as with my job, as far as doing the media and stuff for the church, I'll be going up there to not only to speak, but to help them with anything they may need as far as what the church can provide for their local church.
Great. Yeah, hey, you'll enjoy it. They got a very vibrant group up there in New York. I used to visit with them pretty regularly when I was back in Maryland.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and bring in our guest. He's a guest that we've had several times before. It's always controversial, but we still love him. Mr. Bill Lusenheit. How you doing, Bill?
Hey, I'm unbelievable. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Bill. It's been a little while, but we're glad to have you back.
Yeah, we're having a heat wave up here in Montana. It's going to be 51 degrees today.
Oh.
And anyway, I had to throw that in there since you guys talked about your nice weather you're having.
Yeah.
So we're having relatively good weather for Montana. So good to be with you.
Yeah.
Very
Could
good.
you give us a brief reintroduction of yourself, of who you are, and then you can go right into what you want to talk about today?
Well, I'm a longtime Church of God member, 50 years. I didn't grow up in the church, but I came in when I was 17 years old. It was rumored I was the youngest baptized member at one time in the Worldwide Church of God. They had to actually ask special permission for me to be baptized. But I'm a businessman. I manage.
Well, now you got me curious. How old was that when you were baptized? Yeah, how old were you?
I was 17.
Wow.
17. So, but because I had done the entire correspondence course by hand, the old one, which was like 56 lessons, and because I came in on my own, I was made an exception to the rule back in 1974. But anyway, I'm a businessman. I president of a financial firm. I manage mutual funds and that type of thing. Been doing that for about 25 years. And if I dare say, I'm also an elected Ravalli County committee man for District 24, and actually got nominated to be into the State House of Montana last week when one of the State House members resigned, and he actually endorsed me on the way out. So I went through that election process, lost by 5 votes. But I guess I won't be running in the presidential primary anytime soon. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy being involved in the community and being a light. And I do not hide my light under a bushel. People know I'm a Seventh-day Sabbath keeper, pro-life. I don't eat pork. Right? And so the reason I bring that up is this. If you're confident in what you're doing and what you're saying and what you believe, people will accept it. Okay. And we don't need to be shy about who we are. Okay. And be confident in that. People have the same confidence in you and your beliefs that you do. And so I'm not shy about that, but I think I'm built for that anyway, as such. But for all of us, let's find our niche in preaching the kingdom of God, which I do. I've testified several times now to the state Senate and to the state House, and I say the straight truth. Do it with a little style and make good arguments, but hey, I never shy away from our calling and what we're about and our belief in the Savior Jesus Christ and the second coming and the kingdom of God. So that's where I'm at, and I enjoy doing that. There's trials that come with that, but again, I'm encouraging everybody, find your place in the gospel, whether it's making good food for the potluck or praying or whatever it is. Find your spot, the gifts that God has given you.
Yeah. You mentioned that you came into church in 1974, and I remember there was a booklet that they had called, was it 1975 in Prophecy?
1975 in Prophecy.
Yeah, you remember that?
And it made a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
We had a thing that we believed in called time cycles, 19-year time cycles. You don't hear much about that anymore.
No.
But if
that's like based on the moon, right? Like a moon cycle or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an amateur astronomer, so actually I know a little bit about this. The moon, the earth, and the sun actually have a long cycle of about what they call 238 lunations, where the moon goes through its full phases before it resets back to the same spot in the sky. So 19-year time cycle, Metonic, goes back to Babylon, actually. Metonic cycle, it's called. And it would have been 2 time cycles between when Herbert Armstrong went on the radio in 1934, when he first went on Radio Luxembourg in 1953, and then add 19 years, that would be 1972. And then Paul had 19 years where he started before he preached in Europe. So we kind of overlaid the idea that 1972 would be the time we were going to flee. And conveniently, Herbert Armstrong was 80 years old in 1972. And that's sort of like Moses led the children out of Egypt and all that. So, we had that little template, but
yeah. Let's just calculating real quick. I figure the next 19 years time cycle will end in 2029. If I'm correct, that's just a quick calculation.
That's funny because I've heard a couple different theories out there about 2030, but
well, what's interesting? Look, I'm an economist and economics guy, president of a mutual fund company. There are cycles that happen in economics, okay, and civilizational cycles and all that. Civilizations last about 400 or 500 years, and they kind of fall apart. The massive Roman Empire, how it disappeared is amazing. But, at the time of Christ, you would have thought, how can this beast ever be overcome? It goes from England all the way to India, all right? But it did. And so there's cycles, is my point. And there's spring, winter, summer, fall, of course, and the like. But there's economic cycles. And there's people that study this, non-Christian people that even study this. There are a lot of things coming together right around 2032, 2030, and all that in terms of weather cycles. Because even the sun has an 11-year sunspot cycle and has different outputs and things like that. Maybe we can talk about this a little later. There's actually an asteroid that has a theoretical chance of hitting the Earth around 2032. I see Mike shaking his head. It's like a 2% chance or something. So, things are changing. Things are changing, and I don't know what direction you guys want to go, but I mean,
well, let me ask you something. It made us left out of my brain. I'll ask you in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that some of the things that you had mentioned, Bill, that were changing recently, I think one of the big ones is just U.S. foreign policy towards Europe right now. And the church historically had this idea that Europe might be where the beast power would emanate from. And if people aren't familiar with that idea, part of the reason, and you can tell us more, Bill, had to do with the idea that it was a reformulation of the Roman Empire due to what we read in the book of Daniel about the king of the north and Alexander's generals. They were of a European influence, we could say.
Yes.
And there was one in the north and one in the south. And at the end times, there's going to be another king of the north and king of the south. And why don't we just start there, Bill, with what's been happening with Trump's policies towards Ukraine and what the European leaders are now saying. They kind of were aware of this during the first Trump administration, but I think that it's really playing out much more today.
It's a fascinating thing that's going on. First of all, I'll give you my opinion about the Ukraine-Soviet, not Soviet Union, Russia war. Okay, this is a mafia war between two sides. Okay, the innocent pay the price. Women and children, young people fighting wars. Ukraine's a mafia. Okay, it's ran by dark figures. So is Russia. Okay, and it's a turf battle. Okay, so there's no such thing as a good guy and a bad guy here. They're both bad guys. If you want to make an argument that one guy's less bad than the other, I don't know. All right, but it's a mess, and people are suffering, and I definitely want to see this thing end. We need to be a little bit pragmatic about it. Russia's not going to give up the territory they took. Putin would be out of power. He would be. He's not going to give that up. He'll go all the way with that, and they need the warm water port of Crimea and all that. So there's that. Zelensky, if the war does not continue, he's probably out. He'll be voted out, and the like, and he'll lose his power. So that's what's going on there. There's a certain stubbornness going to be on both sides. But here's the thing: Ukraine has only been able to survive because it's subsidized. Europe has given a little bit. We've given the most. Okay, and if it wasn't for us giving the weapons and the money and the intelligence, even this war would have been over in about 3 weeks. Okay, and so Donald Trump is basically, listen, we're in debt, and a whole nother issue on that. We can't afford these things anymore. We need to downsize the military. We just can't afford it. I'm for a strong military. Don't get me wrong, but it's just things. Our Social Security system is going to be not bankrupt, severely cut within 9 years, and can only pay 70% of the payments. Things have to cut. Thus, you see what's going on with Doge and all of these types of things. And so Europe never really did man up to support Ukraine. Well, now that we're pulling out our support, Europe now is suddenly going through a sudden shock, and they're like, well, we need to militarize more. We need to spend more of our budget and so forth. I've been to Europe and all that. The one thing that strikes you is that it's very old. Europe is very, very old. Other than the immigration that has come in from Turkey and the Middle East, there's a lot of gray hairs in the Germany and England and France and all that. And so, somehow, if biblical prophecy is about the king of the north is a revived Roman Empire,
right?
Okay. Although you realize the United States is in the northern hemisphere, so some people even try to say the United States is the beast. But if we go by historical precedents and the revivals of the Roman Empire, I mean, the Third Reich was called the Third Reich based upon a revival of the Roman Empire,
right?
And the alliance with Mussolini and the Vatican and all of that as the Axis. So if that pattern continues, Europe will have to be more militarized in order to fulfill whatever role that it will have in prophecy. Even Russia, Tubal-Cain, it kind of comes down to the Tigris River. in prophecy, and an angel holds it back. But they've geared up as such. So we're going to see a lot of dynamic change going on in Europe, and economically, Europe is a mess. Okay, they're going to have to unify economically. They need a strong man, and if we have, we're headed for a recession, people. Okay, I'm no prophet, but I'm telling you right now, what's going on economically, interest rates have risen, tariffs and all that hurts trade. Even though there's unfair things going on with trade, we're headed for a recession, maybe even worse, and it will hit Europe the hardest. Will that give the opportunity for a strong man to arise, to rally the people? We'll have to see, but I wouldn't be surprised. In the papacy, the Pope is not doing well. Okay, this is not the man of sin or whatever it is. He's not likely to survive. He's 89. He's not likely to survive very much longer. So, and he's been a very unpopular Pope in a lot of ways with the Catholic community. Will there be a new, revived, younger, charismatic Pope? That may be in the future very soon.
Hey, let me ask you something, Bill. Because you mentioned earlier that civilizations only last like 400 or 500 years, and then there's a decline. It seems like the civilization that we have in our world now is, for the first time, I guess, since the 20th century, that it's a global civilization. Back before, civilizations existed in their little areas, and there was interactions, but right now we have this globalization going on. I can fly anywhere and go anywhere. There's trade that's dependent upon all these different nations. We have very much a global civilization that is developed.
Well, the good book says.
What's that?
The good book says that knowledge will increase in Daniel.
Yeah.
And many will run to and fro.
Right.
It took my ancestors from Germany to get over here to Montana, months and months, right? And there's no visiting and calling home or talking to your grandkids on the internet, okay? And that was not that long ago. We're only talking, 1883. And, I flew from Los Angeles to Istanbul nonstop. It's an amazing thing on an Airbus, right? Flying over the North Pole. And, it's like being Magellan and doing it in 12 hours. It's unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible. But in terms of civilization, they have about a 200-year run, 250-year run. And there's been several major civilizations throughout time. Yeah. And then they started to a decline phase. The United States now is about 250 years old. Right. So we've probably hit our peak, and we can see there's a little bit of erosion and decline in our nation, our moral base, and a lot of other things that we could lay claim to. Does that mean the United States collapses in 3 weeks? No, that doesn't mean that. It's a process. It's like the hands of a clock. Okay. But the Roman Empire, it was about, 500 years or so where it had, from its beginning to its growth to decline. Greek Empire, even empires in China and all that. You get too comfortable. And then you're not able to embrace the change that's necessary for future growth. Yeah. I'll use an example. When I was a kid, Sears Roebuck was an amazing company. They had one of the largest buildings in the world. Okay. They had this catalog that would come, big, thick phone book size thing. And they should have been the next Amazon. They already had it in place. But see, they rested on their laurels. They didn't reinvent themselves. They didn't take on the change that is necessary. And not to get off track, but I mean, we have to think about that. I'm not talking about truth and moral principles. Those are immutable and timeless. All right. But as a church, we have to be willing to think outside the box. All right. New ways to preach the gospel. Add a few new songs to the hymnal book. Right. Maybe we don't have to wear suits and ties 100% of the time. Maybe we can just go dressy casual. All right. New roles for women. And I'm not talking about being pastors, but I mean, let's be honest here. We had
I agree with you that things change, and if you don't change with the way things are changing out there, then you may be left behind. We're not talking about changing what we believe, the essentials of what we believe, but just the administration, how we do things, some of the things you're addressing there. Great points. And one thing I wanted to say about that 500-year idea for civilizations, that is interesting, because I've been looking at that a little bit recently. And when you look at ancient Israel, if you go, well, they're not sure when they started, let's say about 1200 BC, you start to see a great demise in the 700s BC when Israel was taken captive by Assyria, and then Judah is gone by late 500s BC. That falls right in that ballpark too. Well, and so that 500-year thing is interesting.
Even economists is kind of interesting. There's minuet cycles within that 500. Okay, 70-year cycles. Chondrite wave is what it's called. And it's about 70. It's about the same length as a human lifespan. Ballpark 70 years or so. And you get about 7 of these waves within the 500-year cycle. Okay?
Right.
And I'll theorize on this. What happens is that the new generation forgets the lessons that have been learned because the older generation has passed away. You know, I was raised by these World War II guys. These are blood and guts guys. Okay, these are no nonsense people. I mean, the women, the men, you know, they grew up in the Depression. They fought World War II. They made the sacrifices. And these were my coaches and these were my teachers. And hey, they didn't mess around. Okay, they had the SWAT paddle right there in the classroom. And no, I didn't go to Catholic school either. I'm talking just regular school. These were tough dudes. Okay, tough gals, and they're gone now. All right, and so that idea of America and tough America, and we're tough guys, we do what it takes, and we raise the flag on Iwo Jima. They're gone. All right, so we've got a new paradigm, and so then the process has to start all over again of inspirational dissatisfaction and growth and embracing the necessary change through pain. And the universe is the way God set it up. You can't lie to it. All right. You can jump in the air and pretend you're defying the law of gravity. And that's true for about a second, maybe, right? Then gravity takes hold. We have done so many excesses now into society. We're going to pay a price. That's just all there is to it. We're killing over 1 million babies a year. All right. How long? God's a God of justice, and it will not forbear. All right. It says in the Bible we would become like the days of Sodom, and so going back to your question, Jeff, it speaks of the great Babylon, and the merchants in Revelation, and the merchants of the world will be weeping. Okay. Because the supply chain is an amazing thing. Money is made all over the world. As an investment manager, I mean, Bank of America owns the second largest bank in India. Coca-Cola is huge in China, right? Young brands, Taco Bell and all that in China and all that.
We very much have, the way I look at it, we have a global society where businesses look, because if we look at how the civilization is, right? The businesses are everywhere, like you're saying, right? The trade is everywhere. So essentially, even though there's different borders and stuff and different governments, the society operates almost like one society,
Well, right, and that's why it's so interconnected. If you wanted to unravel it, all right, the detox, they've called that the detox. That's actually a good term. We're so addicted to foreign nations buying up our government debt and our trade and all of that around the world, and so forth. To try to change it overnight, you'll kill the economy.
You're making a good point there. I understand what Trump's trying to do right now, but also because everything is so intertwined right now, you have to be very careful in how you do this. And I don't know if you can get it exactly right.
Well, listen, a drug addict, a major heroin addict, okay, if they go through withdrawal, they can kill them. It has to be tapered off. Okay?
Right.
The old song, "If I Were King, If I Were King." Maybe tariffs, right? You got to go 1% per month. You know what I mean? You got to phase this in. You can't just go all of a sudden and say, okay, 50% tariff on everything from Mexico. half of our food supply comes from Mexico.
Yeah.
Right? It's the withdrawal will be huge. And hopefully, I think Donald Trump is using this for bargaining chips with. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think he's went through with it. I think it's always been pulled back at the last minute.
It's
So
a
it
game
seems
Right,
like
right.
it's
The first
kind of
couple of
bargaining going
months
on.
here, but yeah, so that I think now Wall Street is finally realizing maybe this is going to happen. So there's a drop in the stock market. We don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I was reading something about economics, and it was saying that economics is like weather. There's so many factors out there that you could try to predict it, but you just can't factor in everything because of the systems are so chaotic.
Well, I will say one thing. Let me put it back down to the individual level.
Yeah.
Okay. Around the world, we're looking for heroes rather than looking to ourselves to rescue ourselves, improve ourselves. Okay. Move forward in that way. We're looking for someone to rescue us. We've created all these systems around the world have created a system of dependence. Okay. When you got half the people in America, for instance, are dependent on Social Security check as their only retirement funding, okay, or expanded Medicare or whatever it is, okay. So you create a lot of dependence, and it's that way around the world. Okay, we do have an aging world. It's aging. China has a demographic nightmare facing it in terms of age, and that Japan, same story. And so what you have is you have a very dependent society, rather than back when my ancestors were pioneers in Montana. Hey, make or break, you got to get that mule and that plow out there, or you're going to starve. But you're on your own, okay, and you better rely on yourself and your neighbors. It's way beyond that now, and so fear, people will sell their soul for a piece of bread. And so around the world, there's a lot of discomfort and insecurity. Will people sell their soul to the devil for someone that sounds like they've got the answers? Okay.
Yeah.
The Middle East situation, boy, that dynamic has really changed. Who would have imagined, that after the October 7th thing, and now Hamas and Gaza, what happened there? It's amazing. All right. I kind of like Donald Trump in a lot of ways. I like his leadership in a lot of ways, but to say that, wow, we're just going to turn Gaza into, Atlantic City or something. It's like they even had a mock-up. It said Trump Gaza, like instead of Trump Plaza. All right, and listen, we'll have a resort. It'll be like Dubai and swimming pools, and everybody will be happy and all that. I think is a little bit of naive thinking. These are people.
You think?
These people have suffered and they're angry. Okay, they are going to blame Israel. They're not going to go away. You've got 2 million displaced people. They're angrier than ever. Okay, and things have changed in Syria. That's been an interesting development. What, it could be peace on earth? No, man. It's going to be want to get divided up between the Turks and the Kurds and Lebanon and everything else. It's very volatile, very volatile. And so I think people are looking for Messiah-like figures. We are in the place where around the world they're looking for a Messiah-like figure, at least psychologically. I think they've been prepared for that. And so someone that will come along and maybe relieve them economically a little bit, or the like, be a miracle performing individual, perhaps, will bedazzle the world. And we're very much into the idea of having iconic movie star icons, okay, if you know what I'm saying, that can provide us an answer in 30 minutes or 60 minutes like a TV show. Right? And that's not how life works. But I think we have been set up for that psychologically around the world, for the hero figure. And we'll sell our soul for a crust of bread to do it.
You mentioned bread, and I started thinking about the Revelation 6:6, where it says, I heard voice from the four living beings saying, a loaf of bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's wages, and don't waste the olive oil and the wine.
Yeah.
if inflation's bad, maybe it should have said eggs. I don't know, but
You beat me to it. I was going to say, it's going to cost you 3 days labor for a dozen eggs.
Yeah, I mean that's worse than what we're experiencing right now. But hey, in some countries, that is reality.
No, like in Africa, because I know dealing with what we have in Africa, the Church of God International there in Kenya, I think a person there average wage is $2 a day.
Yeah.
So it's not much, and that's almost so a day's wages may be a loaf of bread.
Right.
For some of these places,
in the foot that we'll call frontier markets on the margins. For every dollar that's wasted, somebody's going hungry. Every dollar that's wasted in the United States, eventually will trickle down to in Africa. Somebody's getting less. Okay, and although Africa is a whole different situation, I know you guys have been involved down there and the like. There's a lot of rare earths down there. And if they do continue with the green revolution and all that, it requires a lot of rare earths and lithium and different things like that. And those deposits are found in Africa. The thing is, colonialism was a terrible thing. What happened in Africa? A lot of people don't know the story of colonialism and how people were exploited and all that for the mineral wealth at that time, or for rubber and all of that. We'll see how that plays out. The one thing, we talk a lot about the King of the North, but I'd like to ask your opinions. The King of the South, I'm not quite sure how that coalesces. Historically, that was Egypt. But in the present time, Egypt is kind of impotent in a lot of ways.
Right.
Some people try to propose it's some sort of Islamic empire or something like that. But technically, Iran is actually north of Israel. If we use that as the reference point of where are we talking about,
right?
Will there be a new alliance of we'll call it the Ottoman Empire of some sort? That's possible.
The Sunni,
it's not quite there.
Yeah, the Sunni versus the Shiite. Like the Iranians are Shiites, which is about 20% of Islam, and the rest of the Middle East, most of them, not all of them, are Sunni, which is about 80%. But what's interesting is Pakistan already has nuclear weapons.
Yes,
they are an Islamic nation. We sometimes forget about them. Again, they're not necessarily Arabs like most of the Muslims in the Middle East. But again, they're definitely connected through the religion, the Sunni religion there. So, a lot of options are on the table, I think, on that.
As Americans, how much do we have in common with, and not picking on Mormons or anything like that? You'll be up in Salt Lake City, I understand, in a couple of weeks. How much in common do Mormons and Catholics have? Okay. Oh, but they're Christians, right?
Yeah.
That's about how much difference there is between Sunni and Shiite, right? But Americans just want to throw it all in one big basket. They're Muslim, okay? It's not that easy. It is not that easy. The different groups are just not meldable in that fashion. So again, we'll see how that has to play out.
Oh yeah, you have a lot of times where Shiites are blowing up Sunnis and vice versa, over the years.
Well, look at Catholics and Protestants in Ireland. It's been going on for hundreds of years, right? And so something would have to change in that regard as such. And with Pakistan, they are a nuclear power, but they're very preoccupied with India. Okay, that's still very, very tense. There, you don't hear much about it, but that's kind of a very, very tense thing that's going on there. I don't think their focus is that much into the Middle East or Israel, but they do have the weapon.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have nukes.
It's available for the right price.
We're concerned about Iran, but Pakistan already has nukes.
So exactly. And so we'll have to see how it plays out. But again, very interesting times. Want to discuss a couple other things, couple other directions. Is that it speaks in Revelation? No man will be able to buy or sell. No man will be able to buy or sell. And when
without the mark of the beast is what it says, right?
Without the mark of the beast. And what's funny, I always thought cryptocurrency is kind of a fraudulent thing. It's goofy. It's weird. It exists on computers.
To me, it's imaginary money. But then, isn't most money imaginary now?
Right.
Exactly. Well, that's what you discover.
When you start to look at what's going on with our money in the bank, I didn't realize till a number of years ago that if I wanted to go to the bank to take everything out, you can't necessarily, take everything all at once.
No,
or everybody couldn't do it at once. Yeah.
I think from what I heard, and maybe you can correct me, Bill, that a bank can loan out 10%, like they can only have to have 10% money in the bank. They can load out like 100%, and they only have to have 10% reserves of what they can loan out or something.
Yes, yeah, and that's based on interest rates, by the way. It's called the reserve rate, and in recent years was down to virtually zero. And so, how do I can get this business where you can just create money and make money for lending it out? It'd be great. I got to get in there on that. And by the way, that's why it's very much defended. We don't want to have people creating their own money. Okay. And cryptocurrency is sort of like, we'll call that. Problem with crypto is that it changes price so rapidly that it's not really good to use for commerce. All right.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But the thing is that
what is Bitcoin right now? Isn't it like over $100,000 or something?
Yeah, it's around $95,000 and all that. But it changes.
And that's basically just numbers in a computer somewhere. Is all that is.
Right.
I mean, that could crash any moment. In my opinion.
And I'll guarantee you, this is being worked on right now, and it's not just some conspiracy theory. This is I read all the Federal Reserve releases and all that. Governments will have their own cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Governments will have them, and if you think about that, and I think Bitcoin, all that will become obsolete, but governments will then regulate the value of this cryptocurrency. But here's the thing, there's no anonymity. They will know everything that you have and where you're spending it. Okay. There's no taking the paper money even and putting it under the mattress, right? Or gold coins or something like that. You will be tracked. And then, what if the day comes we just don't like the way you think, right? We just press a button and you are deleted from your password's deleted from the system. Okay, is that coming? It is coming. It's very rapidly coming. I'm concerned about that as far as the idea of no man will be able to buy or sell.
Yeah, you mentioned something there about currency not being used. I think Trump wanted to get rid of all the pennies. Is that something he was proposing, getting rid of pennies? Yes. And again, is that a way to start? You get rid of the pennies, then you get rid of the nickels, and eventually we're just all using money that's all virtual.
Well, I'm a coin collector. Okay.
Yeah.
So I like coins, but believe it or not, we used to have a half cent, and up until 1856, and then it really wasn't practical as a measure of a unit. When I was a kid, you actually could buy something for a penny. You get a little square bubble gum with a comic in it, little bazooka for a penny.
Bazooka Joe.
Yeah.
And so that was, we've had about 10-to-1 inflation since I was a kid. And so really, a dime would be the same as a penny, right?
Yeah.
Here, the problem with the pennies and and the nickels, they cost more than that to make. And it's the amount of handling cost. Handling cost is a very important thing when it comes to actual cash. And, the cashiers have to count out the pennies every day, and they got to put them in a roll and all this. So, I mean, if they went to a dime, I would say that makes sense. Again, we've done it before in history because it's really that doesn't mean it doesn't change on the pump when you pump gas, right? Still be $3.10 a gallon or whatever it is. But and by the way, the amount of money that's actual cash is less than 5% of what we call the float. Most money already is digital in a way. In the bank account, you use a credit card, or you send a virtual check and that kind of a thing.
This is numbers. The numbers in the computer is all it is.
Numbers in a computer. It's
talking about that. I don't know how it is in Montana, but here in Georgia, a lot of places you can't even use cash anymore. You can only use your credit card.
Wow. Yeah, I know in some places here that's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I remember when that first happened to me that they told me they didn't take cash. I was like,
"What's wrong with you Southerners? You Confederates down there. Up here in Montana, we trade women, we trade furs, we trade buffalo horns. We got it down. You guys down there, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, anyway, I want to move another direction. It speaks about a 200 million man army. 200 million men. That's you realize that when that was in Revelation, they're going to march to the Middle East at the very end to fight the second coming. There were only about 200 million people on the whole planet when that prophecy was given. Okay,
Yeah,
rather amazing. The size of the armies. China, I looked it up. On a good day, with all the reservists and everything else, maybe can float up 7 million. I know there's a lot of population in India and Southeast Asia and all that, but this is an amazing number. Okay, you've got to train, supply, and transport a lot of people, and we're not close to that. We are just not close to that. But I want to lay an idea on
you. Don't think China, if they really were pressed, could come up with a 200 million man army out of the billion or so they have there?
Yeah, if you want to take fat little old men and and give them a stick to fight with,
Yeah.
But I want to lay an idea on you guys, a thought that I've had, and I always got to be careful when Bill's thinking. The robotics, the drone thing has changed warfare incredibly. You could be in some ditch somewhere, and there's a drone silently coming over, and boom, you're dead. It's not a matter of being courageous. We're fighting like knights of the round table, mano a mano. It's way past that now. You can just get wiped out by something you don't even see, right?
Yeah.
And they're making these things by just multitudes. Is the 200 million man army robots, drones, that type of thing? Is that a possibility? I'm not sure.
Yeah, again, there's so much we could speculate on with the rise of AI now that robotics, and I'm thinking of the Terminator movies, and it's amazing. We just don't know, Bill, but we should talk about these things so we aren't caught unawares.
Yeah.
Well,
you mentioned AI, Mike. I've seen now robots. Now they have robots that can come in your home and can wash your dishes and do your laundry and walk around the house and go upstairs, and they can run. And so robotics and AI are they're now to where they were in the movies, like we used to watch. It's amazing.
We just bought one of those robotic vacuum cleaners. And you program it. It actually knows the house. It can map that. Even that blows my mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember, I grew up with a 18-inch black and white TV set with 3 channels, right? So this is amazing stuff, and the communication and all that is going on. Artificial intelligence. We were about every 25 years is what's called an innovation wave, going back to wave theory, of something that drastically changes society. And it lasts for about 75 years. Where railroads came around by 1850, and by about 1925, it had its full effect. Yes, there's still railroads, but it's not revolutionary, okay? And, personal computing, we'll call that 1980, 85, and it has a 75-year run. But anyway, every 25 years, there tends to be technological innovation that is a game changer, okay? Whether it's television or even college education, these type of things. AI, I've been messing around with this because I got to stay up on things. I'm just blown away. I am absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever try to use it to help you make sermons and stuff. It's greatly helpful.
Yeah.
And to create drawings and paintings, and you actually own that stuff. It's your personal stuff.
Yeah.
I've written out sermons, and I've actually asked AI to criticize my own sermon. Okay.
Wow.
To criticize it and improve it. And it has no shame. It actually will rip me apart.
Yeah. I've asked AI with my sermons to I'll take a sermon and put it into Chat GPT and say, give me a summary of this sermon.
Yes.
And it will summarize it for you a lot better than I could even summarize it myself.
I've used that with the legislator. I have legislators who will ask me. Bills can be very complicated. It can be hundreds of pages long. And I will copy it and put it into AI, ChatGPT or Grok, some of the other ones. And so summarize this, right, into layman's language, because we're not all lawyers here, right? And it'll come up with a 2-page thing, very accurate, very It's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's going to change the economy too. Think about it.
Yeah.
Will we even need ministers anymore? Can we just have an AI bot?
Well, I tried doing that for a while, creating an AI bot for stuff. It was about 99% accurate. That 1%, it was really throwing people off, the little AI bot that we had for like the Bible chat. So I don't know,
Not
but
like Jeff and Mike, who are always 100%.
yeah, but the
No,
LLMs, what they call them, the
it's
language
going to
learning
change.
models.
What was that?
They call them LLMs, language learning models, and stuff.
Yeah.
And those actually now you can
What I've
talk
noticed that
to
AI
your
is getting smarter.
computer.
It is actually getting smarter.
You can have conversations with your computer now. You can have conversations with Alexa. Like,
Look, our grandchildren, think about this: the addictive ability of this. You can have a virtual life. You could have a family and a dog and a cat, and put the goggles on or whatever it'll be. 3D holographic, like Star Trek. It's Star Trek kind of stuff with the holodeck. And you imagine when you say, "Listen, you better do what we say," or we pull the plug on your holodeck.
Yeah.
Okay. No. And so we're dealing with altered realities. It's very incredible. Deep fakes and all that are amazing now. Okay.
Yeah.
And but also economically, a lot of jobs are going to be lost to the automation and the AI. Okay. A lot of service positions and look, even in my industry, they're talking about the idea of using more of chat bots, interactive bots, and that kind of a thing for customer service. And so
I deal with that all the time with customer service. I'm dealing with chat bots like all the time now.
Right? Hey, I was driving around LA recently, and they've got those Waymo self-driverless vehicles. There's nobody driving them. People are using them like taxis in inner LA right now. It's happening. Yeah.
Right. It's going to go into the trucking industry. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe you have one guy in the front unit to guard the freight. It'd be more of a security guard so that the trucks don't get hijacked. But as far as a caravan of rigs, so that'll change that. Transportation will change. Cabbies, Uber drivers, all these kind of things. That's gone.
I was in my brother's Tesla the other day, and I was unaware how far it had come. And that Tesla, he programmed it in like, we're going to go from here to here in the city he was in, and he's like, I'm hands off the entire time. And it was driving him all the way there, and I was like, I don't know what to think about this anymore.
I'm just not going to be. I will not be the first one to fly an AI airplane. No, your pilot today is Cal, the robot.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but it's going to change things, and there's going to be disruption. All right, and will probably happen is that service industries will grow, but there's a transition. Okay. Look, when I was a kid, nobody had a carpet cleaner come to the house or a dog groomer come to the house. And my mom never went to the nail salon. All right. There's all these services. It was not a yoga class. In fact, there wasn't even, you didn't go, it existed. And I remember my dad said, Billy, that's for the rich people. That's rich people stuff. Now everybody does this kind of stuff. And car wash, what are you talking about? Take the car to the car wash. You get the hose out there and, the dog, you get some liquid soap and a brush, right? And you don't have a dog groomer show up with a fan. And so the service industry will now I'm seeing things. People call themselves life coaches. Life. And in a weird, you guys are laughing. You guys in your own way are life coaches too. But so we're seeing a lot of dynamics. But I think again,
I tell you what, Bill, as soon as McDonald's can get a robot to make them burgers and fries, they're going to have one in there, and that's going to be soon.
They're working on it.
They use those kiosks now where you don't need to go up to the counter anymore. So I went
up to the counter and they look at you strange. They look at you funny now. Why are you standing at the counter? Go back to the kiosk.
So all these things are going to be there. There's one thing I want to hit on is that it speaks about this comet or asteroid Wormwood. It just kills all the fish in the sea and all of that. And I always was wondering on that. What's interesting is they're discovering more and more of what's called near-Earth objects, NEOs. And just the other day they came out with one that they've discovered, and it has a certain percentage chance of hitting the Earth around 2031 or something like that. About a 3% chance, they're saying, or less. But I'm not overly alarmed. But
we know that something like that happened in Siberia in the early 1900s and
yes.
devastated that area. If something hit the Earth, just not even a large object, it could do some damage. You know?
That one in 1908, Tunguska event or whatever they call that, was an amazing thing. It knocked the forest down for 400 miles. It literally huge trees knocked down, reverberated. The shockwave reverberated around the Earth. Even air pressure changed. It was an amazing thing. Okay, that was in 1908. What if something like that happened today, undetected?
Yeah, what if it went over New York City or something?
Yeah, but you might have nations think that's an atomic bomb that went off. Right?
Yeah,
it could set off a chain of events, for World War. But if that, what would happen if that hit the ocean? All right, what would happen with the tidal waves and all that? All right, and so it's out there. It's always that possibility, and so something to be aware of. And they're discovering more and more of these. Again, thanks to the advanced telescopes and the computer tracking and all that they have. And so, again, we can't just be naive and say things are going to go on forever. There is change going to come, okay? No, Jesus Christ is not coming back next week. But we need to be aware of things that are in play right now, that the chess pieces are being put on the board. They're definitely being put on the board of different dynamics that could rapidly change in a blink of an eye. Doesn't it say like a snare, right? It'll catch the world unawares like a snare, okay? A thief in the night. We're there. And so what's the lesson of this? We're going into the Passover season and all that, the time of repentance and reflection and that type of thing. Hey, am I with the program, right? And it doesn't matter even if Christ comes back in 1,000 years from now. You always need to be asking that question. But again, I think we need to be careful not to be caught unawares, not to be naive, okay, and just fiddle while Rome burns. The things are happening very, very rapidly and could be put in order with that. And so will Donald Trump unwittingly and be a part of it, and cause things, maybe even good things that will end up furthering end times prophecy? That's possible.
Well, you know what? When it comes to Trump, again, I think we try to stay neutral here as far as politics, but I've seen people in the church on both sides. Like some people think Trump is like the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And some other people think Trump is like the new savior of the world. So it says there's differing opinions out there.
Well,
what will happen.
It's interesting how God has used world figures, we'll call it non-biblical figures for world events, okay? And whether it was King Cyrus, who unwittingly just decided to allow for the temple to be rebuilt. Okay, God's in charge, and we want to be in charge, but we're not. Okay, God will cause things to happen, and I don't believe in predestination. Calvinism, where God is controlling everything and it's all been worked out. I personally don't believe that the second coming is even a fixed date. I think it is a date that can change based upon how we're responding or how people are repenting or not. When Jonah went to Nineveh, right? He said, "You're going to go under." Well, the people repented. God changed his mind. All right. Then Jonah was mad. He goes, "I got thrown up on the beach from a big fish, and you're not going to kill him, right?" He goes, "Well, they changed direction." And by the way, did Nineveh become Sabbath keeping, non-pork eating people? No. But they changed direction. They repented of their thing. Can the United States and Europe and all that, can they repent and change direction a little bit? Right? It's a continuum. My point is, righteousness in God's sight. Look, we're very black and white thinkers in the Church of God. You're in or you're out. But I do believe God does allow for a continuum of where the heart is and the direction and so forth. And if we kind of turn and we're starting to head back the right ways, will God give us a lot of rope? God is not quick on the trigger wanting to have this happen. It's horrific. He knows how horrific it is. We know how horrific it'll be. Why does the Lord delay his coming? James? Because there's still yet sinners to come unto repentance. And we need to have that. We can't just think about what's in it for ourselves. We have to think about the fact that we want as many people as possible.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get frustrated, Bill and Jeff, when they look at the world situation. But you can't quit. You got to keep doing what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
You can't just take a vacation or go off to the side. God is looking for you to be using those talents. He said, "Don't go put it in a hole in the ground."
You know, listen, I get a lot of flack because I'm involved with politics and I hold an office and different things like that. It's not traditional Church of God like activity, and I'll be the first to tell you that it's a circus. Even in Helena, Montana, in our capital, it is a real circus. There's corruption, there's problems, and all that. But do we hide our? And I have no hope that we're going to change the world, okay, or that I'm going to change the world. But I do touch people, all right, and we got to keep doing the right thing, no matter what, okay. Our gospel efforts. We're not what we once were, okay? All right. And the church is aging, it's shrinking in a way. All right.
Yeah.
You don't get to give up. Right. And
right.
I know we're towards the end here. If I can add a little something here.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I made the baseball team when I was a sophomore, a starting catcher. And why? Because we were a terrible team. We lost every game but one. But I got a lot of experience. I got in there, and you know what you learn? You play your heart out. You run those balls out. You're losing 12-0 in the last inning. You play all out. And guess what? The next year we were 500, and by the time I was a senior, we won the championship.
Wow.
And so it's how you play the game. You can never give up. You can't just say, I'm overwhelmed by it all. It's no use. It's no good. You're touching people here and there, and that matters. It really does matter. And wherever we can lift the arms up. Remember Moses? He got to lift the arms. Right. And if we could just lift up arms of good
That's
people,
a good analogy, man. Yeah. Think about the guy who was holding an arm. You don't think that's a big deal. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And certainly glad to count you guys as my friends and whatever I can do to help you guys be an arm holder upper. Okay. let's do it. Okay. And so this is all being watched very carefully by the Eternal. And he's taking note of that. And how you play the game here in boot camp is very, very important, okay, for the eternal scheme of things. And so I didn't mean anything today to make us sound hopeless and all that, but to be aware and to get back in the game.
Yeah.
Let's get back in that game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, we're talking about the 1975 in prophecy, if there was a book today, would it be like 2030 in prophecy? We can't really predict what's going to happen, but we can look at trends and we can look at things and we can always be ready if something does happen, ready to do what we got to do. And we should do that every day.
Have the shoes by the door. All right.
Yeah.
And we've been overly focused on figuring out the date. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the date is fluid, really, to be quite honest with you. I can even make the argument. I can make arguments. There's always an argument. I can say it's 200 years from now or something. So there'll be a new Renaissance or something. I don't think so. But is it possible? Yeah. And does it matter? In the end, does it really matter? So why does
the thing is, we're all going to die, and we're all going to probably die before Christ comes back. So that doesn't matter to us, probably.
Well, I mean, I'm getting older here.
Yeah.
When I got baptized as a 17-year-old. The minister told me, he goes, Bill, it's not likely you're ever going to get married. No, so he said, and then he said, and if you do get married, you're not going to have children. Well, you know what? I joked. I said, well, I won't have gray hair though. And he laughed. He goes, no, that'll never happen. Hey, take a look, guys. See that?
Yeah.
Look at that. And I saw him a few years ago at the Feast of Tabernacles.
Yeah. So we should never tell young people that.
I want my money back.
But Bill, we should never tell young people what they told you. I mean, we should never tell people that you're not going to be able to have children, or you're not going to be able to do this, or don't live your life. We shouldn't tell people that. That's a very wrong thing.
Gary's got a good comment. For each one of us, the end could be the next second. And again, airplane crash, car crash, you just don't know.
Mhm.
And you've got to endure to the end. And what he's talking about there is living the Christ-like life, being a light to others, letting that light shine in you. That's the focus. What we talked about today is interesting because it can interest people and bring them into the conversation. It might wake them up. That was one thing I think that the magazine and the program with Worldwide did. I was interested because of those different topics they were talking about. Then I came to learn more about the nitty gritty of what Christianity is through that.
You know what? I listened to Garner Tit Armstrong and started when I was about 14 or 15 years old. And Garner Tit Armstrong was kind of like a Rush Limbaugh of his time. You see, you realize that you could not have a program like Rush Limbaugh back in 1972. They had what was called equal time. There were none of these news talk channels or that kind of thing like that. And so what Garner Ted Armstrong did was kind of created a news broadcast talking about world events and connected to the Bible and all that. And he was on every day on stations all over the place. So you could tune it in. It was kind of entertaining in a way. I was, and they encouraged us to read U.S. News and World Report and that kind of thing. So, here's a weird kid like me getting U.S. News and World Report. But it was fascinating. I was always interested in the political scheme, economics, world events, that type of a thing. So we'll call that the lure. Yes, and it was for me and all that. I enjoyed the commentary. And Garner Ted Armstrong, I know a lot of people try to cast aspersion on him and all that. But let me tell you what, he was very good as a presenter. He was interesting in his time. He had that baritone voice, very smooth for that era, and the like. He was good. He was just very, very good.
He fit that time frame and TV at that time and radio to a T. It was just like God knew that he could use that talent.
Well, I'll tell you what's changed. I'm really glad to be able to be on a program like this. It's amazing the way we're able to do this. But the internet has changed. You realize the amount of channels that were available for what we'll call media were very limited. Okay. There's a few channels on the TV and maybe a dozen radio stations. Okay. And that was it. And you got a daily newspaper. Okay. Today, three guys named Reed, Lucenite, and James could go out there and we could be broadcasting. We are broadcasting around the world. But the thing is,
when you think about it,
you know how many new songs are created and uploaded every day from potential artists? It's some amazing amount. It's like 50,000 songs a day are out there. How many people are doing little homemade Bible things? And all that?
There's millions and millions of YouTube channels. Millions and millions.
And you know what? I think that's great on one side, but it's a problem on the other because the message is getting diffused in this miasma of information.
It's a Babylon. The amount of information is out there is an absolute Babylon.
It's crazy.
And you can look up anything on Google and all that too. But the amount of people that are out there vying for your attention, okay? That's why you see all these extreme sports stuff and weird cat videos. And how weird can we make it, right? Because we want to find audience and we get paid per click and all that. And here we have the ability to preach the gospel more than ever, but on the same time, there's more competition for eyeballs.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Than ever. And I don't know how we quite solve that dilemma. I know all the different churches of God are facing the same thing.
Yeah, we're all facing it. We're all trying to figure it out. And I think the answer that I've come to is I don't think we can. I just think
look at Revelation, these two witnesses at the end, the whole world is aware of them. I think because they're going to do I think the miracles are coming back. And when those people show up, and then the whole world will be able to see it because that'll draw the attention. It makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Part of the answer is this. I know this from campaigning. I campaigned for some of our local people. I campaigned for myself. Nothing beats eyeball to eyeball. Very few people want to do it. Okay. I have the ability to cold knock. Okay. And I'm not saying people should do that. All right. It's very tough work. But belly to belly is more important than just about anything. It's kind of unique in today's environment of people huddled away around their computer screen and such. But talking to people in line, wherever you meet them and so forth, being an example, whatever way you can in that way. It's kind of rare. It's actually becoming rarer than ever. Is the idea of the human touch. That's why it's important we go to church. You know, I don't want to ever see the idea that we have virtual church. Now, if you don't have anything else, I get it.
Yeah, there's a great comedy skit by Sebastian Maniscalco where he's talking about when he was a kid, if someone came to visit you, everybody was like, "Oh, we got visitors," and they bring out the cake, and he says, "Now when somebody knocks at your door,
I've seen
everybody hides.
Everybody hides.
Did you know anybody who
Get
could
the gun?
Yeah, who could that be?
It's real funny. You got to look it up.
I've seen it. You know,
normally when my doorbell rings, it's the Mormons.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
You know what? They like me because I talk to them. The only problem I have with LDS is that I have a real problem calling a 19-year-old kid Elder Johnny or Elder, you know.
They're really nice kids that come to the door. Like,
you know what? They actually, when I see them, I always tell them, I go, "Well, you look good. You give me some hope. You don't have a swastika tattoo on your forehead and a nose ring, and there's hope for the world." Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, it's interesting. I will tell them. I'll string them along a little bit. I'll go, you know, listen, I don't believe in Christmas, and I don't. I believe in they do the Lord's Supper on the 14th day of the first month too. By the way,
they do the same as we do, yeah.
And I don't believe in eternal hellfire for ever burning, and you know that type of thing. I go through all the things we agree upon, and then they're getting excited because wow, this sounds like a prospect. And I go, okay, so I want you to tell me why is it that I'm not a Jehovah's Witness? And he scratched their head, because we don't ever see you at our Kingdom Hall. I go, oh. Anyway, but then what they do, they make a little mark on the curb, you know, and they'll come back. And back in not to go too long here, but in the 1930s, when my folks grew up, if you gave a sandwich to like a bum looking around, you know, they made a little hobo mark. This is a soft touch. This is a soft touch. So my mom would always do that, and she'd say, "Don't leave no hobo marks on the curb." And so my wife gets mad because I'll come back. Hey, Bill knows what we know or something.
Yeah.
Bill, your friends are back. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you let them in the house, you're on the list. They have a list now.
I'm on the list. Yeah.
Because the Mormons that came to my house a couple of days ago, they said, "Well, you had talked to a couple of our other guys, like I think it was like last year." I was like, "Yeah, I let them in. I let them talk." And like you, I talk about things that we have in common. I was like, you know, I believe in baptism by immersion and laying on of hands, which they believe, you know. and
well, you know, not to get off track, but Jehovah's Witness, why are there some similarities? Okay, they're actually within what they call the Adventist branch of we'll call it the Christian tree. And Charles Taze Russell, who is the founder of the Jehovah's Witness and the Bible Students movement, was heavily influenced by Seventh-day Adventist missionaries. Okay, so we have similarities with the Seventh-day Adventists. We actually have common history going back to 1844 and all that. So we're cousins, and we'll call it on the game tree as such. I'm not advocating for Jehovah's Witnesses, but I'm just sort of saying.
They have a lot of things in common, but they have some things that are just wild and crazy, is what I would call them. You know,
they do.
It's like some good stuff, and then some stuff that's like, wow, that's just wild.
They have their own, nature God of the issue Bible. There.
Yeah.
They've had to reinvent themselves because they said that Christ would return before anyone that was in 1914. I don't know if you're familiar with this. They were sealed, and that Christ will come back before all of them die. All right. Well, it's kind of happened now.
Yeah.
And so you have to. There's been some reinvention, but listen, lest we be prideful. There were a lot of people that were into, we'll call it the Great Disappointment of 1972. A lot of people. I knew people that left because of that, as such. And so, prediction addiction, apocalypse, apocalypse. Right?
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen that. And even in recent decades, I mean, we had different people, Bill Dankenbrink and all that, 2018, 2017.
Yeah.
And all
You
that.
got a fella right now who's picked numerous states over the last 2 years.
Yeah. The old Dave Pack and his his wild predictions as well. Yeah.
It's I'm amazed that people forbear it. You know, we're on to like prediction number 49 or something like that. That's failed.
I can't understand their mindset.
But here's what we can't do. Here's what prophecy is not. Okay, it is not a way to market time when the second coming of Christ. I knew someone I really liked who was in the church, and then he fell away, and he got doing drugs and he was drinking and chasing broads and stuff. Pardon my language, and I remember I talked to him about it with tears, right? And he says, listen, I'm not stupid. I'm keeping an eye on things. And when it starts to heat up, I'll come back, right? Well,
that's dangerous.
He died. He died in his sins, okay? Mm-hmm. He didn't mark a time his own death, okay?
Yeah.
And so any of us who think that, well, you know, I can just be goofy and hang with all my, we'll call it the fatal sins, and when it gets close, man, then I'll get it together. And I've seen it. I'm sure you guys as pastors have seen it, too. And the situation, I really like the guy. He was a good guy in a lot of ways, right? And it's a very sad situation. You know, don't play that game.
Yeah.
Do not play that game. And then we had hooks when we got in, all right? But we have to graduate to the higher level of love and service and sacrifice and worship of God, all right? Not how do I save my own skin, or how do I get to Petra, or the no good Germans are going to come over here, and unless I drop that Lucenhide name, they're going to kill my family. And by the way, Lucenhide, we had the 2 dots above the U for Lucenhide. We dropped that because we're good Americans, okay, and all that. But it was a little bit tough. We always wanted to put everybody in a box. You're from the tribe of Dan. You're from Reuben. You're a pervert. You know, whatever it was. You know, we had this thing. You're from Gad. That means you're from Switzerland or something. Yeah. Anyway, so going to church, bringing the kids. I had people say, "Look, Johnny, here come the Assyrians. Those are the people. There's the Lucenhides. They're the ones that are going to kill us." I don't know about that, right? Yeah. I'm careful about this. I do believe, not to go down the British Israelism thing, okay, too hard. America's a special place. We're people from China, Italy, Russia. We have more people here than the host country anywhere else in the world. There are more Jews in America than there are in Israel. Okay? Yeah. And we're all mixed up now. We're all here married, mixed up, whatever it is. I do believe if the genetics don't matter, I don't think it matters at all. I think what matters
we got to think about typology, because the Babylon in Revelation is a type of ancient Babylon. So Israel and Judah at the end could be a type of what the original Israel and Judah were.
We said, you will be our God. We will be your people. We put in God we trust on the money. I mean, hey, that's pretty serious stuff.
Still the most populous Christian nation in the world. Still the most populous Christian nation.
We've exported more Bibles than any other country in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe we didn't
we're running out of time, Bill, so wrap it up. What do you got?
Well, I'll just say this. We didn't do that great of a job maybe getting the gospel to the world. So God said, I'll bring the whole world to a place where there's freedom of religion, okay? And he brought all mixed threads here. We are a type of Israel. I don't think that's wrong to say. I don't think that's over-speculating or anything like that. And with that comes the responsibility to be a righteous people, okay? John Adams even said that this system can only work with a moral people, okay? Otherwise, you'll vote yourself money from the public trough, right? And you'll become a decadent. Well, we're headed in that direction. So as a type of Israel, okay, genetics doesn't matter. We have a great responsibility for our nation, our people to lead and to be an example and to be a light on the hill for the entire world. Let's get back to doing it. And I know you're working at that, and all of us are. And so that would be my concluding thought.
All right. Well, thank you, Bill, for joining us today. I appreciate that thought. We went into double overtime, so we got to go ahead and conclude this now.
Yeah,
but,
hey, Jeff,
yeah.
just a quick shout out to 77 Super Jim, who says he has no church in his area. If he sends me an email, I could do a mailing to his area, see if we can drum up any interest out there.
Yeah, so here's the email for Mike. It's mhjames6043@yahoo.com. Send him an email, and he can definitely see what we can do to help you out there. All right. Again, thank you for joining us today. I thank everyone
Bill.
out there watching who have joined us today. Definitely an interesting conversation we've had today, and we will see everybody again next week in another edition of Prove All Things. So goodbye for now.
So long, everybody. Thanks for having me.